when October 7th happened, and I had been involved in different pro-Palestine activities, it was like 12, 13 years ago. I was instructed explicitly not to talk about the Hamas rockets. I was instructed specifically to always pivot to Israel and not to
Interesting.
say anything public about our community's own shortcomings and issues, and to always highlight the Israeli side of the equation. I wanted to separate Gazans and the just and urgent Palestinian aspirations from Hamas, from violence, from the resistance narrative. Hamas violated those values with suicide bombings. The idea of normalizing the taking of women and children and the elderly as hostages, I felt that I could no longer stay silent in seeing the hijacking of the Palestinian cause and the complete destruction of any value system by people who don't know Hamas, don't know about its terrorism, and that Palestinians are actually its biggest victims. And I also was horrified that Vivian Silver, for example, as being one of the victims, or one of the many victims of October 7th, put herself out there repeatedly for the Palestinian people, for Palestinian rights, for justice for Palestinians against the military occupation. And there was no honoring of those victims, those Israelis who stood with the Palestinians. And this was treated as a purely military attack, and all the hostages that were taken were legitimate. There was no acknowledgement that mass killings and executions of people, defenseless people in their homes and their bomb shelters, the executions. Like, I saw the footage, I saw the GoPros. I was genuinely ashamed that an element, this is the key word, an element of the people of Gaza were a part of this. And I felt a duty to speak out and a duty to separate the rest of my people who had nothing to do with this, who are against Hamas, who Hamas's popularity was in the toilet. And yes, there were a few thousand who celebrated. Yes, there were a few thousand who went into the borders after the initial attack. We're still talking about a small number, statistically speaking, out of over 2.3 million Palestinians. And this was not being done by, I felt, anyone in the English-speaking world, whereby you had an authentic Palestinian voice that was actually pro-Palestine, but also against terrorism and Hamas, pro-peace and coexistence, and able to hold multiple truths. And that's where I decided to put myself out there.